Hello, my friends. Welcome back. Here's a question. How often do you say exactly what you mean and it somehow blows up into an argument? Yeah, I see you nodding. You're not alone. So most couples aren't bad communicators. They're just like trapped in communication patterns. I see it all the time. And what happens is it triggers defensiveness instead of understanding, which is what you hope for, right? And when that happens, even like the most innocent statements spark this like resentment and tension and distance, right? So the communication trap usually comes in a few different flavors. First, assuming that your partner knows what you want, right? Like you hint, you sigh, and you expect them to read your mind. And when they don't, frustration builds up, right? And then by the time they go to tell them, it comes out a bit meaner than it means to because you've been holding it in for so long. The second flavor is blaming while you're expressing your needs. So you use those "you never" statements, and that feels like attacks and puts partner on the fence, right? So your partner's on the defense thinking, well, I actually do that. It's not never, I do it, you know. The other flavor is you just avoid conflict entirely. You don't speak up. You leave your needs unexpressed, right? And then that resentment, coming in like floodgates open. So the trick is to communicate in a way that gets your needs across without triggering defenses and without ignoring your own desires, right? So here's why communication often goes sideways, all right? Defense versus connection. Our brains are wired to protect ourselves from perceived threats. When we have a partner saying you never listen, that's often interpreted, like by the other's brain as like a threat, not a need. Then the body goes into protect mode, the heart rate goes up, the emotional walls go up, and the message gets lost, right? And we also have like our past patterns, right? And like projection. Like if you've ever had a conversation with somebody and they're just fighting with you over something that really doesn't even feel like it applies to you, or you're like, there's something more under this, right? They may be projecting something else. Often like our reactions aren't really about the moment at all, right? The moment when things are happening and what's going on at the time. They can be about a lot of unresolved hurt, a lot of past experiences. And that's why sometimes simple requests feel like attacks. And then when needs aren't communicated safely, frustration builds, right? So unmet needs, it reduces intimacy. That frustration, shrinks desire so easily. And it's like desire only thrives when both partners feel heard and safe and seen, right? Here is your action step for the week. I want you to try the clear and safe request formula. So first, you're going to state the fact. Describe what's happening without judgment. For example, I noticed the dishes were still in the sink this morning. It's a fact, right? And pause this too. If you need to get a piece of paper, so you can maybe go back and try it with like the past thing you wanted to say that you didn't say yet. Number 2, the second step of this is share your feelings. So you're going to own your emotions, and it's only about your emotions, okay? I felt overwhelmed because I like to start my day with a clean kitchen. You're going to ask for a clear request as your third step, and that's going to be without blame. Example would be, would you be willing to help with the dishes tonight? Boom. You just communicated your needs without triggering defensiveness from your partner. And then you give your partner an opportunity to respond with, okay. And they can step up instead of fighting you on it because they feel like they're being attacked, right? So like if this episode resonated, please give it a like. I'd really appreciate it. And chances are like maybe you've been stuck in the communication trap before. Here's the good news. Most couples just need a new framework and some practice, talking into connection instead of talking into tension. So if this communication trap has been creating real tension, eroding your intimacy, one-on-one coaching is the fast way with personalized solutions to rebuild that desire-driven communication for you both. Like you remember, you can say what you mean without starting a fight and still get your needs met. Connection doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be intentional. And a lot of conversations, a framework is something we were never taught. All my show notes are down in the bottom if you want to follow me on socials. Share it with a friend, share it with your partner. Ask them if this is how they're feeling too. Be like, oh man, are we in a communication trap? Make light out of it. They're probably feeling the same way you do, right?